Education is constantly changing in its methods, educators, or the materials that are taught in classrooms. It's something that impacts our everyday lives, especially growing up K through 12. A recent push to transform STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics into STEAM is making its way into Ohio. I asked an expert and several students about why they went to their programs of study.
I basically found that I loved education. I loved working with students, I loved teaching. So instead of going either into industry or as a pure chemistry professor doing chemistry research, I found myself doing more chemical and STEM education type research.
I've always loved science and math and problem solving, and it kind of made sense to me to combine all of the things I like and get into engineering. And of course, then I had to narrow it down from there.
I picked natural science just because I've always kind of had an interest in biology and chemistry, but it was also something that I struggled with. I was always interested with it, but I never got good grades. And so I kind of want to be that teacher that can relate to those students and be like, hey, I understand this isn't always easy, but I can kind of like help them figure out a way to comprehend it and learn it. And language arts comes naturally to me, so and I just really enjoy being able to like take a book and kind of like break it down, or like a novel or a poem, and completely break it down and be like, let's look at the bigger picture.
While I was a junior in high school, I had this amazing opportunity to participate in a science externship program through my high school, and they set me up with a professional researcher, and I was able to work in her research lab for the entire summer between my junior and senior years. And after that experience, I knew I wanted to go into biochemistry.
I ended up taking physics and engineering my senior year of high school. I really enjoyed it. My teacher really made a difference. Found out I had a passion for it. Physics and math are really intertwined, and to understand the physical world, you have to have a grasp of mathematics. Physics is my passion. I want to know how things work. I want to know why things work. And physics has given me the tools to do that.
Like any issue, there are multiple sides. Some support STEAM, some do not and want STEM separate.
I am a fan of STEAM or pure integration because to me, if STEM itself is supposed to be a new way of teaching the STEM, and often when it first started, it was just kind of the same old revisions. I think there's a push now to try to more integrate, that is, teach the person doing the math why they're doing that math and how it applies to science or engineering.
The difference between how arts are treated and how the sciences are treated is really frustrating to me as someone who loves both. And the fact that there's such an emphasis on you have to be good at math, you have to be good at science to do anything, is just frustrating, and I feel like adding the arts in there would be really helpful to balance things out.
The arts and the sciences all have their own things to offer, and once you've decided where you want to go, you should be able to pursue that without pressures to, also incorporate this so you're more well-rounded. Well, at some point, you've got to focus in. And when you start out your education, like your younger years, you should definitely be exposed to everything. At a certain point, you need to let people do what they want to do, because you're never going to get a high return from people who are forced into doing something that they're not interested in.
I'm really glad they're doing STEAM because I think art deserves more recognition than it gets. I think about all the reasons and all the things that make me passionate about science, and I know someone feels like that about art. And it makes me sad that they can't pursue their dream as readily as I can. There's scholarships for me. There's funding for me at universities. Where's their funding? What are they going to do?
I definitely think that A is important because kind of encouraging our students to have the confidence and courage to look into science fields is one thing, but I think we're also always going to have those students who kind of relate more to the art side. So finding a way to kind of relate the two or bring them together is really important, and that can help us reach a broader amount of students and all of their broad interests.
Regardless of where your stance is on STEM versus STEAM, with education impacting lives every day, there come challenges out of every success.
I think we're trying to change it, but change is slow, just because people, and many sometimes have done it a certain way for years, and it's hard for them to either accept or adapt to change. So, anyway, I do think, so where it could really help the community is we're going to have much better prepared students. We have much better prepared students coming into the university because of the STEAM or STEM curriculum they may have had.
I think UC is very good about working with kids. I think they could be a little less rigid in their program structure. I don't know why certain physics classes aren't open to me. But I don't think UC is as progressive with that as they could be. Over time, UC is progressive. They will catch up. But right now it's just, we have more students coming in. We have less faculty because there's students coming in. So it's hard to say what it would take for UC to get on point like that.
Don't make them feel like they're invalid for not being good at math. There are people that don't want to go into math and science. Don't make them feel like they're invalid for not wanting to. If it's not for them, it's not for them. You can't force them to go into it. There's nothing wrong with going into the arts.
But if there was a chance for more hands-on experience of what it's actually like to work in a STEM field, that might help people to figure out where their interests lie. We need people in our schools who can help us to make those connections.
The people who make up the greater Cincinnati area are our students. So if we can incorporate that into their curriculum at a younger age and have them continually learning arts and sciences together, I think in general, it might give us an opportunity or the opportunities to kind of grow the city and the surrounding cities for the better, because those people who are making our buildings, building our buildings, all of those things, they're going to also have that kind of art aspect to it. So I just think in general it could benefit the entire area.